Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Katie. I am a NASM certified personal trainer, performance enhancement specialist, body neutral personal trainer, and elite level power lifter. And if you are not new here, welcome back, losers. Let's dive into this. Today I'm going to be making a video that I've never made before. Today we're going to be doing an about me. From where I started all the way to where I am now professionally, powerlifting wise. This is gonna probably be a long one. I don't know yet. I'm just starting recording it. So it might be long. Buckle in, let's go. So my journey to where I am today was anything but linear. I grew up playing all the sports. Anything that I wanted to try, any sport that I wanted to play, my parents were like, yeah, sure, let's sign up. So I played just about any sport I wanted to growing up. My two main sports were soccer and dance. I started both of those when I was 3, and I played soccer up until I was about 17, and I danced all the way through college. I loved them both, but dance has such a special place in my heart. It was such an outlet for me, and I loved it, and I miss it a lot. Soccer I loved as well. I was a goalie. If there's any other soccer players out there, let me know what position you played. I was a goalie. I always joke that, yeah, I played soccer, but I didn't have to run because I was a goalie, and that's why I hate running to this day. I loved soccer as well, but it turned out to be very stressful for me. I was playing for 4 teams at once at my peak. I was playing for my school, my town, and then 2 other like outside clubs on the side. So it was fun, but it also started to become like a chore for me. So I stopped playing soccer when I was 17 and just stuck with dance and really poured my heart and soul into dance. With dance, I started competing when I was 7, and I competed all the way up until I was 18 and went away to college, which is a pretty normal lifespan, I guess, for a competitive dancer. Other than that, my parents were also those parents that if you can walk, you can ski. So they put me on skis when I was like 3 years old, and I skied until I was 16, until I became an angsty teenager, and I was like, snowboarding is cooler, and then I switched to snowboarding, and now I suck. I'm not that bad. We actually just last year skied and snowboarded the back bowls of Colorado, and it was amazing. Literally trip of a lifetime. It was incredible. Anyway, I literally tried everything. I played tennis for a little bit. I played basketball for a minute and literally begged my coach to not put me on the court. Oh my God. That's how much I know about basketball, okay? I literally was like, please don't put me out there. I don't know anything. These girls are really tall. I'm 5'2". Don't put me out there. So I played a lot of different sports growing up. I was always that kid that was eating dinner from a Tupperware in the car from one practice to the next. Like, I was always on the go. But that doesn't necessarily mean that my relationship with movement, sports, and my body was any good. It was actually shit. I started struggling with anorexia and self-harm at a very young age. I was about 12 when I started showing signs and symptoms of mental illness, and I started going to therapy at a very young age. I was about 12 when I started therapy. I am 27 now, and I am still in therapy, okay? Go to therapy. I am a huge advocate for therapy, okay? Go to therapy. So yeah, I struggled with both of those things into my 20s, particularly with eating disorders. I consider myself always in recovery. I have been weight restored for years and years and years now, but weight restored does not mean recovery. There's much more that goes into recovery. And I personally label myself as always recovering. I'm like constantly recovering. Recovery is a choice that you make every single day, every single meal. You wake up and choose recovery that day. Some days it's easier and more natural and kind of second nature to choose recovery, and other days it's really hard. So I don't know if it's something that will ever be completely gone, but sometimes I'm in a really great place with it, and then other times it's a constant choice to keep on this path. I kind of describe it as like an orb in the back of my head. And sometimes it's really small and really quiet, and other times it's on fire and making everything really tough. Yeah, I don't know if anybody relates to that, but anyway. So yeah, I struggled with many different eating disorders. It started out as anorexia, went into binge eating disorder, and then went into full-blown bulimia. I struggled with that for a very long time. And then right before I went to college, I went through a trauma, and then I started college, and college is stressful, dealing with trauma is stressful, and food tastes really good. So I gained about 70 pounds in my freshman year of college. And I remember one day just looking in the mirror on the back of my dorm room door. That's really hard to say. Dorm room door. And, hi, Mama. Do you want to say hi? No. Okay. But I remember looking in the mirror and my first thought was I didn't recognize myself. But it wasn't in like a body type of way. It was more like, how did I get here? Like, I used to be able to do all these things with my body. I used to be able to run up and down a soccer field for, what's the matter? I used to be able to do so much with my body, and now I just didn't feel like myself. It was hard to walk to class. I was out of breath walking to class. I was in so much pain all the time. My joints hurt. And I just remember thinking I didn't feel like myself. Like, I didn't recognize who that was in the mirror looking back at me, but not from like a physical standpoint, just from an overall human standpoint. So a little bit about my college experience, because this is relevant to what we're going to talk about next. College for me was to find out what I didn't want to do. Okay, college for me was a wild ride. I went to art school for 2 years. I studied photography for 2 years, which I guess helps me a little bit now as a content creator, but honestly, I don't remember anything I learned in college. I couldn't tell you my ISO and f-stop settings or what they need to be. I have no idea. But I studied photography for 2 years, and I went to a college that was very art and engineering focused. Like, if you weren't studying art or engineering, like, don't waste your time kind of thing. And it was at this college that I met Joe, my boyfriend. He and I have been together for about 7 years now. Let's say 7 years. 7 years now. This is us. We're cuties. Yeah. And literally a month after we started dating, I was like, I'm leaving, because I was transferring out of this college because I changed my major to psychology. And like I said, if you're not studying art or engineering, don't waste your money. So I went to a college 7 hours away, back where I was from. So Joe is from where we live now, and I was from 7 hours away. So I transferred home, and Joe and I were long distance for the rest of our college careers. It was about 3 years, and I started studying psychology. I went to a college that I could just commute to from home, and I started studying psychology with a emphasis on clinical psychology. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I actually first wanted to go into dance therapy, and then I wanted to go into art therapy, and then I, for a quick stint, wanted to go into forensic psychology, and then I landed on I wanted to go into clinical psychology. It wasn't until my senior year of college when I decided or realized I wanted to go into exercise science. So now I was at a college that I was close to home. I was living back at home. So I started going to a gym. I started going to the gym that my parents went to, and I started working with one of the trainers there. And she was fantastic. Her name was Sam, and I truly cannot thank her enough. She changed the course of my life, honestly. I know that seems dramatic, but she really did. I started with her to lose weight for a vacation. Okay, that's where I started. We all start somewhere. Complete 180 from where I am now, but I started with Sam to lose weight for a vacation, and I got so much more than that. So Sam kind of just threw me into the weight room, okay? Like, no life vest. I guess she was my life vest, but like, hey, we're gonna get strong as. And Sam was so badass. She was strong as hell. I would literally watch her just like rep out pull-ups, and I was like, I mean, I still can't do that, okay? She was so badass. I thank her so much. And I was consistent with that for a while. I can't believe I'm gonna be showing this to the internet, but here are some of my, oh man, here are some of my first gym pictures. Oh man, okay. But I started to really enjoy lifting, and I thought this could be something that I was good at, and then life got really weird, and I fell off the wagon for a little bit. That's okay, it happens to literally all of us. And then in December of 2015, my entire family and I, we joined a gym all together. As New Year's resolutioners, we were like, this is something we're gonna do for ourselves. We're all gonna get healthy. And we joined a Lifetime Fitness, fantastic facility, amazing gym. And I took every free class I could get my hands on. I was literally like, give me one of everything, please. Like, if it's free, I want it. So I tried everything. I wanted to find something that I really loved, something that I enjoyed, something that didn't feel tedious to me. And I found a lot of things that I really hated. People who are into spin, y'all are built different, okay? Like, no, I do not understand it. But I landed in this class called Alpha, and it was 30 minutes of barbell work and 30 minutes of metabolic conditioning, or a Metcon. And the barbell work was squat, bench, deadlift, some clean and jerk, overhead press, things like that. And after the first 30 minutes, when everyone was headed over to do our Metcon, I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I just want to stay over here and lift more. Like, I fell in love with the barbell. I felt so powerful, so badass, so finally in control of my body again. And I loved it. It made me feel on top of the world. And I know that sounds silly. I know that it's just a piece of iron, but it changed something in my brain. It really did. And I just threw myself in head first. I wasn't even trying to lose weight. Finally, I was like, this is just really cool. I just like how I feel when I'm doing this. I like how I feel when I'm eating more vegetables. I like how I feel when I'm drinking more water. I like how I feel when I'm a little bit more active throughout the day. Mentally, physically, and emotionally, like everything. I just feel good. And the weight came off. I wasn't really trying. I just found something that I loved and poured my entire soul into it. As a coach, as a body neutral coach in particular, I don't talk about my weight loss. I don't find it relevant to my field. I am a good coach for many other reasons besides the fact that I lost some weight. I am educated in many things, and how my body looks doesn't tie in with that at all. So I personally don't talk a lot about my weight loss. So it's very uncomfortable for me to talk about my weight loss. But it is a part of my story. So yeah. So that was December 2015 that I really started taking the gym seriously and just falling in love with it. And trigger warning, I'm just going to talk about some numbers really quickly because I know that people will have questions. I started this journey at about 215 pounds. I am 5'2". And then in March of 2017, I competed at my very first powerlifting meet and I weighed in at 140 pounds even. I immediately fell in love with the sport. Immediately. If anybody is thinking about competing, fucking do it, okay? There's no prerequisite. There's no like minimum amount that you have to lift. If you can squat, bench, deadlift the bar, you're good. At my first meet, I squatted 265, benched 120, and deadlifted 300. It was the atmosphere that made me fall in love with the sport. I was watching my videos back, and there was this group of girls that when I saw them in person at the meet, like when I first walked in, I was like, oh my God, they are so intimidating. Like, they're super scary. Like, it was like 3 of them, and they had, you know, their little group, and they were lifting so much more than me. I was like, oh my God, these girls are so scary. I'm watching my videos back, and they're all cheering their friggin' heads off for me. I was lifting so much less than them, and they were my biggest fan club. It is the sickest environment you will ever be in. I love it. It doesn't matter if you're lifting 5 pounds or 500 pounds. Everybody is screaming their head off for you, and the room just like shakes with that energy. It's incredible. So as soon as I competed for the first time, I was like, I need to do this again. I need to do this again. So I joined a powerlifting specific gym with a powerlifting specific coach. And then I competed in my second meet in July of 2017. So only a couple months after my first meet. And I saw a little bit of improvement. I squatted 260, so 5 pounds less than I did at my first meet. I benched 120, same as what I benched at my first meet, and then I deadlifted 325. So a big improvement on my deadlift, but you know, everything else was kind of stagnant. But I was becoming more comfortable in the sport. I was meeting more friends. It was no regrets. And then I competed at my third meet, and this was Joe's first meet. So I started powerlifting first. I got him into it, and I weighed in at 144.8, so starting to kind of fill out a little bit more, get a little bit more muscle on me, start filling out the 148 weight class. I squatted 285, I benched 145, and I deadlifted 360. So my bench took a really big jump, my squat took a big jump, but I remember this meet vividly. I only went 1 for 3 on squats. I only made my opener. It was not a good day, but I'm still adding to my total as we're going. And then my fourth meet was March of 2019. That literally feels like, 2019 feels like yesterday. That's weird. And at this meet, I actually qualified to compete on Team USA for RPS or the GPC out in Slovakia. I ended up not going just financially and time reasons, but it was really cool. I weighed in at 145.4, so still gaining some weight, still cool, still filling out that 148 weight class. I squatted 320, so I added to my squat. My squat at the last meet was 285, and now it was 320. My bench stayed at 145, my deadlift went down 10 pounds to 350. So not a huge deal. Still added to my total. My total is now 835, from 790 to 835. And then my fifth meet was my first USPA meet. USPA is the federation that I now compete in. And it was in my home city. It was so much fun. All of my friends did it. It was fantastic. I weighed in at 146.8, still adding muscle, still filling out that 148 weight class. I again squatted 320, I benched 150, but I deadlifted 370. So now my total is up to 840. And then my sixth meet. My sixth meet was literally a week before New York State shut down for COVID. And it was really tough going from being in like the peak shape to the rug being ripped out from underneath you. It was a really tough transition at the beginning of COVID. But my sixth meet, I competed at 146.6 pounds this meet, and I believe the meet before this. I think my fifth meet as well. I competed in wraps, in knee wraps for both of those meets. So in the raw division, you can compete in sleeves. In classic raw, you can compete in sleeves or wraps. So I competed in wraps for my fifth and sixth meet. Knee wraps are only used for the squat. So at my sixth meet, I competed at 146.6 pounds. My squat was 341, so we're still building up that squat. 341.7 to be more specific. My bench was 154.3, and then my deadlift was 374.8 pounds. So total is now 870.8. And then my seventh meet is the one that I just competed at a couple of weeks ago. I weighed in at 161.8, so I moved up a weight class. I moved up to the 165 weight class, and I do feel most competitive at the 165 weight class. It was tough for me at first. It took me a while to really get on board with moving up a weight class, but honestly, it was one of the best decisions I could have made because listen to these numbers, okay? I squatted 352.7. That's incredible. In sleeves. I did not compete wrapped at this meet. So this is in sleeves. 352.7. I benched 170.8. And then I deadlifted 385.8, making my total now 909.4. So moving up a weight class, best decision I ever made, honestly. I'm very happy that mentally I was able to get on board with it because I am loving the lifts that I am seeing now. It's insane. So that's kind of my powerlifting journey, but there's so many other things and hobbies that I do. I started hiking in November of 2019. I went on a hike with my mom and I fell in love. I have been traveling to the Adirondacks since I was very, very young with my family. So my family now lives in the Adirondacks. So I did my first hike in November of 2019 and just fell in love. Absolutely loved it. So Joe and I both started hiking together right at the start of the pandemic, really, in like probably that summer of 2020. And we are now halfway through our 46ers challenge. So there's 46 high peaks in the Adirondacks, and once you complete all of them, you are considered a 46er, and you get like cool hats and stickers and stuff like that. So we have completed 23 high peaks out of the 46 high peaks, and we love it. so much. So that's kind of where I'm at now in terms of powerlifting and what I currently do in the sport. So lastly, I guess I'll talk about my business side. I am a small business owner. I am a remote coach. I have one-on-one clients. I have other programs that you can just buy and use. Buddy, this is a one-way. Okay, I became a NASM certified personal trainer when I was still a senior in college. I started taking my online course to become a personal trainer. To become a personal trainer, all you need to do is take an online course, and it's a self-guided course, which is, it's fantastic that it's so accessible, but it's also got issues because just about anybody can become a personal trainer, which was fantastic for me, somebody who didn't know that she wanted to do this until after college, but at the same time, anybody can become a personal trainer. So different video for another day. So I became a NASM certified personal trainer, and then I started applying to gyms in my area, and I started working at a small sports performance gym that works with high school, college, and some professional athletes, and that's where I got my first job, and it was fantastic. The gym required us to have something called a performance enhancement specialization, which really is just a specialization course to understand how to better train athletes. So I am also a performance enhancement specialist. That's what the second part of my little intro means. And I loved all of the athletes that I worked with. I really did. This was a fantastic job. I learned more at this job than I learned in my entire CPT course. I am so thankful for the education that I got at this job. We took anatomy and physiology courses. We kept up to date with a lot of research. It was a very evidence and science-based facility, which I loved. At the same time, working as an in-person personal trainer it's a lot. It's a grind. The hours are long. You're in the gym very early until very late. So I used to work 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. 3 days a week, and then 12 to 8 p.m. 2 other days a week. And then I used to work every other weekend. So it was a lot. It was a lot. And burnout hit me very quickly, very quickly. So right at the start of the pandemic, I decided I wanted to go off on my own. And it was a very scary time to be starting my own business. And it did not take off at first at all. At all. I was selling my clothes to make rent for a couple of months there, for probably about 6 months there. And then finally things started happening and I started gaining traction. And people to this day ask me, like, how did you grow your account? Girl, I have no idea. I really don't know. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. And I hope that that's comforting to some people. I ask for a lot of help. I research a lot of things. I don't always intuitively know what I'm doing. And that's okay. Is this sun hit? That sun is bright. Oh. Let's wait that one out. Hold on. Okay, that's much better. I'm not being blinded. Anyway, so when I was working in person, one of the things that I couldn't get out of my head was I'm supposed to be this example of health and taking care of yourself for my clients, right? But I'm not eating, I'm not sleeping, I'm overworked, I'm stressed out more than I've ever been. How can I be an example of health to them, right? So that is like the number one thing that I founded my business on. I will be an example of what it looks like to take care of yourself for my clients. So a really big thing that I do is I personally set a boundary with my clients. At the very start, was one of those trainers that was like, you have 24/7 text access to me, whatever, it's 3 a.m., you need something, sure, hit me up. Now, my clients know that they can reach me between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. After and before that is my me time, and I was so scared to set this boundary with my clients. But the love and support that I received, everyone was like, oh my God, I love that. I love that for you. And they were also like, I love that for me because now I can see that you can be successful and also have boundaries, right? So I want to be such an example to my clients of what it's like to take care of yourself. I can't take care of my clients unless I take care of me first. So that is something that is very important to me in my own business. In terms of what I offer as a coach, I have one-on-one clients. I keep my one-on-one clients very small. I only take on 13 one-on-one clients at a time. I love that relationship that I get to build with people. That's why I got into this business, honestly. So because I keep my one-on-one very small, I also have other programs that people can just buy and use on their own without being able to be a one-on-one client. And then about a year ago, I started offering non-client consult calls. So anybody that like wants an individualized program, they can book a consult call. We sit down together and I write it for you. I show you exactly how to progress it. I show you how to write your own program. I'm the kind of coach that I don't want my clients to need me forever. I want to teach you enough that you can eventually go out and feel that you have enough tools to do this on your own. But so consult calls are great for writing an individualized program together, talking about what your current split looks like and if you need to make any changes there, talking about how to bring more body neutrality into your fitness journey. I also talk to new personal trainers and answer any questions that they have about getting into the field. It's really just 30 minutes or an hour for you to be able to utilize me as a resource. So I have had so much fun on those consult calls. They are one of my favorite things that I do, honestly. I think that's literally everything about me. I think that's literally my entire life story. I hope I didn't forget anything. I had so much fun hanging out in my little nook today. This was such a fun video to make. Let me know what else y'all want to see, and I will see you next time.